It's a lovely, sweltering Wednesday. Hi, everybody.
Sweltering for sure.
Pretty hot out there.
Well, look at there. Right
Here
away.
we are. I'm shocked. Okay. Welcome to Wednesday's Cooking with Kat and Steph, where we're not going to do any cooking today.
We are not cooking, but we do have fun things
Yes, we do. So,
to be had.
for those of you that are new, hi, Kara. I'm Kat Ludwig, dietitian,
And I'm Stephanie Pepper, and I'm a speech-language pathologist.
and we're changing it up a little bit today.
We are. It's too hot to cook.
Too hot. Yeah.
So, what else would you like on a sweltering hot summer day?
How about a popsicle?
How about a popsicle? Hey, let's make it even more dysphagia appropriate and make it protein popsicles.
I like where your mind's at. You're speaking my language, sister.
Right, right. Well, we thought it a good idea because we're going to talk today about sensory changes in swallowing disorders or dysphagia.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of sensory changes that can be hypersensory or hyposensory, and both can cause a number of different issues.
So, yes, it's hot out. Yes, we're making tea.
And we're going to explain why we're making hot tea.
Shortly.
Because there's a number of different sensory things that we can talk about in terms of swallowing. So there's hot and cold. That's one sensation or two sensations. There's thick and thin. There's a different sensation for both of those. And then there's also the sensation of texture versus no texture. So texture versus smooth.
Right. Okay.
So hello, Kara, Karen. Who else do we have? Say hey.
Please say hey. Okay. So we are going to do a couple of different types of popsicles today. We'll do this one second, I think, because this one is going to be slightly more involved. This one's pretty easy.
That one's very easy, and we'll give it a little more time to kind of cool off.
Yes, good thinking. And Steph will explain why here shortly. Hi, Danielle. Hi, Lynn. So nice to see you both. Okay, so with the peanut butter and jelly popsicle,
Yes.
this one's really fun because we are going to use some fresh strawberries. And for those of you that have some sensory things going on, those seeds in those strawberries are going to cause some trouble.
Right.
So-
So if you have trouble with seeds, and some people have trouble with seeds as small as that's on a strawberry, then you can do the strawberries first, which is, we're going to do that.
Yep.
So we're going to go ahead and blend up the strawberries first, and then we're going to show you how to strain the seeds out.
Yep. Okay.
But you don't have to put fresh strawberries in it.
You don't.
You can just do peanut butter and jelly.
Yep.
We are choosing to add fresh strawberries.
Yep.
Because it's probably the last 6 strawberries in the strawberry patch. Because
Okay.
it's too hot.
So I'm adding probably like 2 ounces of coconut milk. You can use whatever liquid strikes your fancy. We just happen to have coconut on hand. So tell us about where do we start with sensation? How does that affect people?
So there's 2 different ways that difficulty with sensation or having sensory deficits can cause swallowing issues.
Okay.
Is it not working?
No, it's just
Taking its time.
I'm impatient, and it is.
It does have safety
It's fine.
features that
Yeah.
Kat doesn't like, but that's okay. So 2 of the ways that it can affect swallowing is that you can be hypersensitive, where you feel things
Yep.
in a hypersensitive kind of way, in a hyper kind of way, hyper
it's there.
alertness kind
Yeah.
of way.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot in the past about the imprint sensations when you have inflammation. So our strawberries are blended up in some of the milk that we're going to be using in our...
Yep.
Got it?
Yes.
And now we're going to, in a very small strainer, strain out those seeds.
Okay. Would you hand me that spatula there so I can make
betcha.
sure any of these seeds that are still in here,
And we can rinse it.
I should just rinse it. I'll do that.
We'll rinse it.
Okay. So
hypersensitivity. So a lot of people have that sensation left from imprint of food passing by an inflamed area. We've talked about that a lot, but if you have more questions about it, we love talking about it. So that would be one way. Another hypersensitivity would be oral hypersensitivity, and that's where people feel every little bump and lump and grit that may be in food.
So can I ask a question?
By all means.
How does texture fit into this?
Well, texture does fit into this because that's what I'm talking about. If you have a hypersensitive oral phase and you are affected by texture, any texture, it could be just grit. I don't like gritty things, and that's why I don't do pea protein very well.
Yep. Also, cooked fruit. It could be lettuce.
So cooked fruit I don't like because it's slimy.
Yeah, that's a texture thing.
That
right?
is a texture thing. So people who are hypersensitive to any kind of texture, some people don't like the texture of, say, oatmeal, or so that I'm fine with.
Right.
But you could have some kind of hypersensitivity or aversion to any certain kind of texture, and that may send a message to your brain.
Yep. So there's all those seeds.
Because the brain manages everything, and then the brain's going to say, "Whoa, then don't do that, don't swallow that."
Right.
So then you start having difficulty initiating a swallow. So you change your swallow a little bit, and we've talked about that in the past, and you change and change and change until your swallow isn't the same as it used to be at all.
Right. All right. Seed-free strawberry, coconut. Okay. And then I was just going to grab one of the little spatulas. I think I might be in the wrong drawer.
The offset spatula?
Yes. I feel like I saw it.
I think it's in the other
I can
one.
just grab a knife, too.
Although you just never know.
Here. Oh, of course. As I grab the knife, you find it. I like the offsets better. Okay. Yes. So there's a lot of seeds, sensitive textures in all the little places. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So
is that enough peanut butter?
I think it is. So I think that's probably about 2 tablespoons, which is about what a serving is. So how much protein is in 2 tablespoons?
Let's see. Yes, 2 tablespoons is a serving, and the protein is 7 grams.
Okay. So we're going to do protein powder in here as well, right?
Yep, we are.
And you put a scoop in there, don't you?
I do. I have a scoop.
Okay. So this protein powder doesn't always come with a scoop, so sometimes you have to add your own.
So, scoop.
Yep.
Of protein, unflavored protein. Now you can put, there's strawberry protein out there. There may even be peanut butter.
Yeah.
Flavored protein.
Yeah.
Chocolate, you could put chocolate, peanut butter.
Yep.
Strawberry.
You could do a banana in here instead of strawberry if you wanted.
We're just doing peanut butter and jelly because
it sounded good to us.
It sounded good.
Okay.
So we were talking about hypersensitivity. Let's talk a little bit about hyposensitivity. So sensitivity that are not sensing things that you need to sense. So part of our ability to not aspirate is dependent upon all of your sensory mechanisms guiding the food to the right place.
Right.
And when it doesn't go to the right place, and all of us have experienced this, is that you're talking, you're laughing,
you're breathing.
You just may not be focused on eating, but you may lose track of something and start coughing while you're eating.
Yep.
That's if you don't have that kind of sensitivity, if you don't have that feeling, you could technically aspirate.
Right.
So having sensations is very important. So we don't want to take away the importance of sensitivity, because hypersensitivity can be annoying, but hyposensitivity can be detrimental.
Yeah.
And
dangerous. Yeah.
It can be dangerous.
Yeah. Okay. So you have in the past used spicy, like hot sauce for people that have hyposensitivity, right?
Yes, I have.
For some people, it's not appropriate for everyone.
Right. That is more a taste thing, and I was working on some of the brain recognizing.
Yep. Okay. That there's something
there. But it does, yeah.
Okay. So we have to get those nerves firing again sometimes.
We're firing up nerves, exactly. And so that's one of the reasons why we have hot tea today, because one of the ways to address hyper or hyposensitivity is by alternating sensations.
Look good to you?
Yes,
okay.
It does.
So if you wanted to add more strawberry flavor, you could always add your jelly or jam to this also. We're just going to go for it. We're going to pour it in here, and then we're going to start making our second one.
Right.
Okay,
so we were talking about alternating.
Yeah.
So if you're hyper or hyposensitive, preferably if you're hypersensitive, you can do this on your own. If you're hyposensitive, I would hope that you have a speech therapist that can guide you through, because I don't want you to risk aspirating something that you can't feel.
Right.
So alternating hot and cold, hot and cold. So with the magic of television or Facebook, we are going to have some already done.
Yes.
So
Ta-da!
we'll just refroze.
So this second one is a salted caramel coffee popsicle.
Right. So we have coffee that is cooled.
It's still warm.
It's room temperature,
but it's not hot.
Right.
Okay.
So we're gonna just put, and the protein powder is salted caramel, so it ends up being a salted caramel latte, which.
So the reason we want this coffee cooled is we want the protein powder to mix in, but we don't want to curdle it, because it can sometimes get clumpy if you don't do it that way. Okay. And then.
So that is mixed.
Okay. We're just going to pour this in here, and then we'll pop these in the freezer. Okay. All right. So with dysphagia, what are some symptoms of hyper and or hypo? Oh, I'm going to answer Lynn's question real quick. Thoughts on peanut butter powder? I like peanut butter powder. Typically, it's much less thick because it doesn't have the fat in it. It's mostly just protein. So if you just want the protein and you like the flavor of peanut butter powder is a really good option, because you can get it super thin without having to use as much. And it's a pretty decent amount of protein per serving. So I'm a big, big fan of peanut butter powder. Okay. So while Steph is getting those out, the other reason I like this exercise is that, and I shouldn't say exercise, I can't think of the right word. Activity, yes. Is because we're using an anti-inflammatory drink in the tea paired with our high protein popsicles. So it's a really great nutrition exercise also.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
So
okay.
Alternating. We have hot tea, we have cold popsicle. So this one is the coffee salted caramel latte popsicle.
Yep.
So cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, that. I've never had it in a popsicle before.
I love it.
So if you are sensitive to things, even if it's not hot and cold, the hot and cold stimulation, the alternating hot and cold stimulation, technically wakes up the senses, okay? By doing hot and then cold, it is sending information to the brain about the two opposite sensations.
Yep.
So that it can start to understand it,
Yep.
Understand things more, understand sensations. So even if it's that your sensory thing is not necessarily hot and cold, I'm still probably going to recommend a hot and cold alternation. So alternating popsicle bites, or you can even take a little extra and then a sip of the hot tea or warm tea. It's warm. You can feel the difference. Like there is a distinct
immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it just wakes up the nerves, wakes up the senses, wakes up that communication to the brain. Because really a big part of what we're doing is we're communicating to the brain essentially to stop overprotecting you.
Yep. And sometimes you have to work at it, at understanding and increasing that awareness that what you're feeling may be normal, even though it feels dangerous or not right to you. So this exercise is to help retrain some of that.
The afferent and efferent messages to and from the brain. So afferent is away, efferent is to. We really have to work on that communication with the brain.
And so some of those symptoms would be like if you have difficulty controlling things in your mouth, right?
If you can't feel it, if you lose food out and you're constantly having to get food from all over your mouth, you may have some hyposensitivity because you can't necessarily feel where it is to keep it in one place.
Right. And so this can help stimulate that. Okay.
Absolutely. And then coughing or choking. Obviously, we know that when things get in certain places in the pharynx, in the pharyngeal level, it could be that it's getting away from you at the oral level because you don't feel it.
Right.
And it's slipping back.
Okay.
You're doing it well. Good job. She is serious about this activity.
I think it's so interesting the way it feels. Because I am not a huge fan of cold because my teeth are sensitive. So it's interesting to go from the cold to the warm right after the other because I definitely feel like everything is awake and talking to me.
Cool.
Yeah, like I can feel my lips even though I haven't eaten anything spicy. It's a really interesting sensation.
So you should try it. If you have a hypersensitivity or a hyposensitivity, I'm okay with you trying this. Other like the texture things, I'm I don't know. I would
Texture needs
rather
to be
you.
supervised.
Unless, yes, it should. At least talk to us about it before you do it.
True story.
Stimulate the muscles of the esophagus to move or work. It could. It could. Absolutely, Karen.
Sometimes it's about waking up the nervous system.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So other things, other sensory, taste and smell.
Taste and smell is a big one. So we know that your sense of smell is largely responsible for your sense of taste. Mm-hmm. So people who have had COVID are having, and they have those
sensory
yes,
changes. Mm-hmm.
It really messes with their ability
to taste things.
It
has changed a lot of people's taste.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It has.
And things that used to taste good don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my doctors said I had a hypersensitive esophagus. I would be curious to see how this would go.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have noticed, like if you drink really cold water, like you have a bottle of water that's in the fridge and you're out and about in the warmth, if you drink it, you can feel it all the way down.
Go down.
So then I wonder what would happen if you drink some warm tea right after that.
Wow. That'd be...
It would definitely wake it up.
It's kind of the same sensation. You're super hot outside.
Yep.
So so the cold dissipates in the mouth. So by the time it gets to the esophagus, it's not as cold.
Right.
Unless you're kind of biting onto it. Mm-hmm. Then maybe you're getting a little bit more down to the esophagus. Esophageal level.
Esophageal level. Mm-hmm. I have trouble biting it because my teeth are sensitive. So let's talk about anxiety a little bit.
Yes.
Because a lot of this process creates anxiety in people. The hypersensitivity or hyposensitivity, it creates anxiety and fear. So awareness.
Right. So any of you that have had a video swallow study or a modified barium swallow and you say, I know I feel it stuck, and they told you, no, it's not, look, it doesn't change your anxiety about it, right? Because you are still feeling it, and rightly so to be a bit anxious about it, because what is that? That's probably that inflammation that we were talking about, the imprint. Yep. We're going to get one of those mattresses, or at least a pillow or something to show the imprint.
Yeah, we are. Okay, I want to try the other one now.
The other one smells so good. So this one is the peanut butter and jelly. I think when we made this, we used whole strawberries and jelly.
We did. So it's going to be very strawberry-y.
Oh my gosh,
it's like ice cream on a stick.
It's like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
It is.
It tastes...
We didn't strain the seeds out of this either, and so far I haven't felt any. I wonder if it's because of the thickness of the peanut butter.
Maybe. It's like peanut butter ice cream with strawberry, with hints of strawberry. It's delicious.
It's good. So,
and then I'm going to take a warm sip. It's easier to break off pieces of this one because it's milky, and so you can swallow.
There's fat in this one,
and there's gotcha. Okay,
it changes that texture for sure. So this is also a textural. Oh look, my cup melted my popsicle. This one is going to be a thin liquid.
It's more popsicle-y. This is more like fudge-sicle-y.
Yes, that's a great description of it. So we want to address the anxiety piece around hypersensitivity and hyposensitivity also, because if we can't address the anxiety piece, sometimes it's really hard to get through all of that. And with anxiety, we have to first increase your awareness about what you're anxious about, because you may not even know.
Right. It's kind of like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you hear something and you don't know what it is. That's anxiety. That's the same kind of anxiety as you have not understanding or not knowing what's going on when you swallow. Same concept.
Yep. So we have to first get you figuring out why you're anxious. What is the feeling? What is the sensation or lack of sensation that is making you anxious and causing you fear? What is it? Can you name it?
And we often can identify some things that suggest that there is inflammation, and we can say we think that this is related to inflammation. We don't know because we don't have X-ray vision or
It would be cool if we
CT
did.
vision.
Cool.
It would. But we can usually figure things out just by asking the right questions.
Yep, we can.
So
sensory is so important.
it is.
It tells us so many things. It's how it gets our brain awake and then talking to the rest of our body.
Yeah. So in our membership today, I said, the more you know, to someone who is here right now. But it's true. Our goal is for people to understand, because knowledge is power.
Amen to that.
And that's not my words. That was
Her words.
her words.
Yeah, so true. It really is. So, if you are struggling with sensory, which at the end of the day, I think almost every single person on the planet, whether they have dysphagia or not, has some sort of something sensory going on. Whether it's food, whether it's touch, whether it's smell. It could be the clothes you wear. It could be the way you feel in your body, which when my mom was here and talked about interoception over the holidays, how you feel in your body, it's all part of that sensory piece. How your brain processes information and tells you what's going on. All of that can change based on your awareness. But it takes work. So that's part of what we're doing here, is we're trying to help you understand what's going on in your body.
What kind of questions do we have? Because this one was quick because we didn't cook because it's too hot to cook. But we're eating popsicles, so we're happy to stick around a little bit longer. It's worth trying this going back and forth with temperatures. Yes, it is, Karen. It works. I've seen it work multiple times.
Yep.
Grace Melander, hi. What would cause inflammation in the larynx? So the larynx is not where food goes by. So inflammation in the larynx is not something that you would feel food leaving an imprint on, because the larynx is the wrong tube. So if there's food going through the larynx, you are aspirating. But if there's inflammation in your larynx, it's systemic. It could be affecting your voice because your vocal cords are in the larynx. But I don't think that you would have that full feeling when food goes by, or that feeling of food being stuck from inflammation in the larynx. And you would probably, if you have inflammation in the larynx, you probably have inflammation in lots of other areas too.
Yep. So Eric says, so it makes muscles stronger. I don't know that it makes muscles stronger.
No, it's more about the communication with the brain.
So we want to increase that communication so that your body can tell those muscles to get stronger. And this is also why we put protein in our popsicles, because in order to get muscles stronger, we need protein to build them. So your body takes the protein you eat and takes it apart in your stomach, absorbs it, and then puts it all back together and puts it where it needs to go. And it distributes it evenly throughout the body. So it's really, 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 really important. Did you catch all those reallys? Really important.
Yes.
to get enough protein throughout the day, every day.
And what a better way than by something that you're enjoying. That's fun to eat. And you're doing some swallowing
Activity.
exercise or stimulation at the same time. That you're feeding your muscles and you're feeding your stomach.
I like it. And your brain.
And you're feeding your brain.
Yes.
Brain retraining. Yes.
Protein will be the main helper. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly right.
I like it.
That
I like
is-
it when you get it. Yes.
Yep. Knowledge is power.
So, in this one, we used collagen protein. I meant to bring unflavored whey protein, but I forgot it. And no, it is not grainy. This one also is not grainy. So this is why we like whey protein, and also why we put it in lukewarm, room temperature coffee.
So this is the
Salted caramel.
this is the salted caramel. I make iced coffee every morning. I make a protein iced coffee latte, and this is what I use. So we made the popsicles with that. That's the way I get my protein in the morning. Because
Highly recommend.
my stomach doesn't like to digest food in the morning. It likes liquid in the morning.
But this is easy.
And this works, and I get the nutrition that my body desperately needs.
So Brooke, we used whey protein and collagen protein because we know that they are not grainy. If we had used pea protein, you do run the risk of them being grainier. Sometimes if you do mix pea protein in warm, not hot, but more warm liquid, it can get smoother, but it's not always. Grace meant pharynx.
Oh,
That's
maybe.
very different.
Pharynx is very different. So, however, with that said, inflammation in the pharynx is probably systemic. You probably have inflammation in other areas too. And it's quite possible that it's related to the things you're eating.
I would second that 100%.
So it's more than quite possible. It's very possible that it's related to what you are eating.
There's a sensitivity of some kind happening to something or some things that you're eating.
Soy isolate, is that okay if you can't have soy? We looked that up. We were looking that up with
soy
someone.
isolate should blend smoothly. Should.
Right, but he said if you're not okay with soy, can soy isolate? And I think we looked that up.
I would, if you're not good with soy, I would not mess with soy isolate.
Well, we looked that up for someone because the isolate on their...
That's lecithin. Soy lecithin. That's different. So like if you're not good with dairy in general, I would not have you do whey protein. If you're not good with soy, I wouldn't do soy protein even if it's isolate. Typically.
Soy. Rule 1 has soy isolate in it, so it's... But we were working with someone and we looked...
So this is soy lecithin. This is not soy isolate. So they're a little bit different.
Right. So soy lecithin. So look on your test
food
results.
sensitivity sheet.
And if you can do lecithin, then it's okay.
Yes,
You
they're
can't have
different.
soy.
They're on two. I'll
Let's
talk to you later.
Yes, let's.
Can you go back up? Karen had a question. Yeah.
I have a question which I should know the answer to. Which muscles are involved in the upper swallow when you are clenching to push the food down? This seems to be getting harder for me. Well, clenching and swallow shouldn't go together. So we need to talk again, Kieran.
There are something like 26 sets of muscles that work when you're swallowing.
Yes. So there's a lot of muscles. Let's talk again.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yes, really.
So some people who are good with milk are okay with whey. Some people are okay with whey and not with milk. Whey is a kind of protein in milk. So there are a couple of different kinds of protein in milk. So depending on what you tolerate, some people are fine with dairy in general. Some people are not okay with whey. Some people are not okay with casein. It's really person specific. So if you're struggling with whey protein, cut it out of your diet.
I will tell you, I can't handle milk. I can't handle dairy in general. But this whey protein isolate, I can handle.
Everybody's different. You need to pay attention. That last bite was cold.
Well, take a sip, quick.
No.
Take advantage of that super cold. Way to go.
So much better. Okay. Would it be the cricopharyngeal muscles for Karen? I mean,
It could be. It could. But there's lots of other muscles that it could be too. So it's hard to say just from a question about clenching.
there's so much more involved.
It depends on what clenching means.
Right. That's a
Because
subjective...
clenching your jaw is different than clenching when you're... I don't know. I would have to ask more questions. So it's possible it could be the cricopharyngeus.
So Eric says 26 muscles. We're talking 26 sets of muscles. So it's actually 52 muscles. So there's 26 on this side and there's 26 on this side. So yes.
She's not wrong.
Protein is very necessary for healing in general. In general. You have to have protein if you want to heal. I talk to patients who've just had surgery 4 days a week, and that is the first thing I tell them. You have to eat enough protein every day and keep your blood sugar in control if you want to heal.
That is true.
Not just pharyngeal then, correct. Lots of muscles. Lots and lots and lots of muscles.
Yep.
Protein is so important, and this is why I want people eating a variety of things, because some proteins are higher quality than others. So here's the other piece this coffee with Rule 1 is a complete protein. This peanut butter and jelly is not, because it's got collagen, and so I'd actually have to check the amino acid profile of the collagen and the peanut butter together to see if we have a whole protein or not. I'm not sure that we do.
Okay.
But it's still going to be a good source of protein. Basically why we have dysphagia. We stop using muscles for reasons and have to build them back up. For a lot of people, that's true.
So, and sometimes you compensate by changing how that muscle works on one side or the other, or on both sides, and then that works for a while, and then you change it again because that stopped working, and then you change it again because that stopped working, and it eventually stops working because it's like a cog, a wheel cog. If you change out those cogs too many times, it's going to be totally off. And that's where some people are, that they're saying, I'm only drinking, I can only handle liquids, I can only move liquids.
Right.
That's because the cogs are off.
Yeah. And it could be a nutrition thing. It could be a coordination thing. It could be a speed thing. It could be muscle weakness. There are so many other things that it could be that you need to speak to someone individually and get assessed for what's going on with you.
With you. Exactly. So that's why I say it's hard for me to identify specifics just from what you're telling me, because sometimes what people tell me is not what I see
Right.
when I evaluate or when I do a swallowing review. So your interpretation of what it feels like or what you're explaining to me may not be what I'm seeing, because I have a little different understanding of what's going on. So that's why I don't make any recommendations based on what people say to me. Right. I want to see it too.
And hear it.
I hear all sorts of things.
Your sense of hearing is fascinating to me from what you hear from people.
Right.
Okay, so do some people need more protein than others? This is, I think we've covered this when we've talked about protein in the past. Everybody needs protein to live. If you are injured or healing, you need more protein. If you are growing, you maybe need more protein. If you are active and you're an athlete, you need more protein. If you're a woman and you're pregnant, you need more protein. So it's not just about other people in general. It's about you and where you're at in the phase of your life, and your needs change. Like, your needs could change from day to day. If you're out in the sun and you get a sunburn, now your body has to repair all of that skin that got burned. You're going to need more protein that week. You're also going to need more water. So when your protein needs increase, your water needs increase at the same time. When your fiber increases, your water needs increase at the same time. If I'm sitting on the couch watching TV for a day, I don't need as much, but I still need to meet my basic requirements. So protein is so incredibly important, and there's a reason that I said really like 10 times a little bit ago. So for me, it involves muscles not working and not from being used. Some people, that's the case. So for some people, the esophagus is about muscles, and for some people, it's about nerves. Those are the two causes of esophageal dysmotility.
Yep.
It's hard to figure out which one it is sometimes, though.
And it can be both.
Yep.
So when we injure our throats or esophagus, we need protein to rebuild. Yes. When you injure anything.
Yeah. When you sprain something, when you stub your toe, when you have a surgery, when you have a virus, when you
get a sunburn,
when you injure anything, when you have an infection, because protein is actually what builds your immune system. So if you don't have protein, your immune system weakens and can't fight things off.
Right.
So people think I'm extra because I talk about protein all the time, but you can't heal without it, Eric. You can't. You can't. And
sometimes you have to push to get that protein, because the more difficult it is to swallow and the anxiety keeps building over the swallow, and proteins typically are harder to swallow.
They are.
So that's why finding a good protein powder is essential to the dysphagia recovery.
Yep. I like that Eric just had a eureka moment. Pat yourself on the back, my friend.
Right?
Yes. So
you need to rehabilitate it also with exercise.
Yes.
The more you swallow things.
Everybody's different.
So so the more you swallow things. So I'm going to tell you that it can get better. For some people, too much swallowing will wear out the muscles. That's why...
Especially if your nutrition's not good.
Well, that's where I was going with this.
Okay.
Is that's why we work so well together, because I am a firm believer in, if we use those muscles too much before they have the proper nutrition, we're not fixing anything. We're actually hurting. So that's why Kat works on the nutrition component, and we kind of take it easy on the swallowing component for a little bit until we get nutrition adequate to support the strength building in those muscles.
Yep.
Vital.
Yep.
To go through boot camp again for our throats before we can go to war with the textures. Yes.
That's
It's
so good.
Yeah, that's great. Right. So, and the texture part of it is between the communication between the senses in the mouth and throat and the brain.
And this is where the sensory piece comes in.
Right.
Yep.
That's where the sensory rehab needs to happen.
Yep. So the sensory piece, we need to address it at first so you're aware of what's going on, but we can't necessarily address it at first until we address the nutrition piece.
Nutrition has to be key in the beginning.
But you need to be aware of it so that when I'm pushing nutrition and I'm saying this is what you need, you don't go, I can't do that. Because as soon as you say, I can't do that, now you can't do it.
Right, because you've just told yourself that you can't.
Correct. So we have to play the mindset piece, game, whatever you want to call it, first to get you believing that you can get there.
That you can.
Because we believe you can, but it's hard work. Yeah. Yep. You guys have really good questions
I
today.
know.
I'm
This is
digging
really
this.
good stuff.
Love this, you guys.
Really good stuff.
My popsicle's melting all over the place.
It's dripping down your arm?
I dribbled some on the floor. It's dribbled on my pants.
Why didn't you ask for a towel?
I was trying to drink it.
Well, you're drinking it all right.
I'm quirky, remember?
She's fun.
It's okay, I'm owning it.
She's
owning it.
fun. All right. Well, are there any other questions? Really great questions today.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a heavy topic.
It is. It's hard. Dysphagia's hard.
Yes.
You guys are warriors.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
All right.
If you try this activity, would you let us know?
Yeah. Send us a message and say, I made protein popsicles.
Maybe we'll have to put a poll up in a day or two. Maybe this weekend and see who's tried it.
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
So stay cool. I hope everyone is in a cool place.
Yes. Because we have some hot, humid mess going on out there.
The heat is definitely excited to try it. Good, Brooke. I'm glad.
I think we complicate it with all the doctor jargon. You guys just made it simple to understand it better. Yes! High five.
Thank you,
Okay.
Eric.
Appreciate you. Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys again next week on Wednesday.
We will.
And if there's any ideas on what you want to request that we do, you need to send us a message.
Yes, please do. All right, everybody.
Have a great night.
We'll see you next week.